read what you want. Read what you enjoy reading. And don't let anybody shame you for it. This book is about dragons. It's by Rebecca Yarros.
Ride them or you die. Take that as you will.
The more you ride dick?
Oh my god. Have modesty. Your tits are out.
Listen, we're not... This isn't going in the video yet.
Just saying. Your titties are out.
Oh, they always are.
Mine were out yesterday.
And you were in public.
I was. As if this isn't going to the public.
Okay. Alright, are we ready for this?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yay, solitaire. Let's do this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to We Know What You Like. This is Book Talk. I'm Lucia.
Katie.
And Mary.
And today we have a very exciting book on Book Talk. We read for the month of September. Technically, we read it in August. That's how much we really, really, really liked it. We read the fourth week.
Speak for yourself. I read this in June.
I read it in August. The Fourth Wing
We read
by
Fourth Wing.
Rebecca Yarros. How do you say your last name?
Yes, Rebecca Yarros.
That's right.
I get to have a subtle flex, not so subtle flex. I have the first printing.
Ooh,
So I get the fun
fancy.
sprayed, stenciled edges. I listened to this book, so I had a different experience. I already knew how to pronounce all the names. Katie was texting, being
Some
like,
weird
how do I say
names.
these names?
But yeah, if you're brand new here, guys, just know that technical difficulties is the norm. So, welcome to the Book Talk. Welcome to the channel. And are we ready, ladies?
I was born ready.
I was born ready. For those who don't know, last month we read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and we were discussing with each other, do you think we can fit a September read in before October? And we're like, yeah. And then Mary suggested us to read The Fourth Wing. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. Because I had been hearing about it for a while, not only because of Book Talk, but because, I've been hearing about it for a while. And I was game, I was down. Same with you, correct, Katie?
Yes, it was on my list anyways.
Yep. And suffice to say, I think, and I can say with confidence, that we all really, 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 really liked this book. Okay. Now, does anyone want to give anyone in the audience listening a brief synopsis of this book, and then in a bit we'll go into further detail?
Born to give a synopsis of this book.
I thought you said porn
Just
for a
listen.
second, and I was like, what?
There is porn in here.
There is,
But it is
there.
tasteful. It's not the worst we've read.
It's
Holly
not.
Black
Don't
could
look at my Kindle
never.
history. Don't look at the book I'm about to read tonight that drops as of recording this. Also, as of recording this, it was my birthday yesterday.
Yes.
I'm 25
Happy-
now. I'm officially in my late 20s. Let's go, squad. All right.
Time for
But-
a midlife crisis.
Officially, I'm dying. My cells are dying now. Fun facts. All right. So the Fourth Wing. The reason why I picked this up is because somebody on the internet told me that this was Divergent with dragons, which is only a little true.
Okay.
There are some similarities. So if you've read the Divergent series, it's like dystopian. It's got like, that political intrigue. It's got all those like secrecy stuff. And like, really the biggest part of this that is this most similar is like fighting to survive in it. Like, obviously the main character goes to the Fourth Wing. We start off with Violet Sorrengail, who has trained her entire life to be a scribe, like her father.
If for those who
She
don't know
also
what
has a
scribes
chronic
are, what's a
illness.
scribe?
A scribe is like the person who writes down the history. So like your librarian and history keeper.
Yep.
So that's what she wanted to do with her life. She is very, very smart because she was again going to be following her father's footsteps. Her mother is the like general.
Yep.
I guess.
Yeah.
Of the land.
The land.
I don't remember all of it. But she's like, no, you're gonna go to the Riders' Quadrant. Brings
The
us to the
daughter
Fourth
of
Wing.
mine is gonna be
Period.
not me being surprised when she gets switched into the Fourth Wing, by the way.
Slay.
I was like, no.
We're not there yet.
Listen.
Stop.
You
We're
said
doing
you
synopsis.
said she goes to the Fourth Wing. I
Goes
just
to the
wanted you to
Fourth
know
Wing.
how dumb I was.
Synopsis. So she then has to cross the parapet during like a torrential downpour and fight for her life and survival in the fourth wing.
Yes.
Everything happens. Clearly she makes it, otherwise this would be a very short book. So that's the only spoiler I'm going to give you right now. But trials and tribulations happen. There is disability rep. That's the word I was looking for. Because she has a chronic illness. I don't remember what it is, but it's like...
I don't know that it was ever, like, explicitly explained.
No.
I know,
like,
I know it's in there. Like, somebody...
Basically, like, her muscles and joints are...
breakable.
Don't
she's
function
weaker.
well.
Yeah, she's very breakable, but, like, she survives.
I'm a
she's
survivor.
very smart.
I'm gonna make it.
Exactly.
This is also a
Demonetized
fantasy novel. For those who don't know.
Yes, it is a fantasy novel, clearly. But again, Divergent with dragons.
Yes.
Very lightly similar to Divergent, but if you've read that series, I think you would really, really enjoy this, because I liked it.
I didn't read
It is-
Divergent.
I did not.
I saw
loved it.
2 of the movies.
Still forever mad about Veronica Roth and her ending of Allegiant, but
I
that is
do
a
know what
fact.
happens
That is a
in the
story for another
ending.
time. We are not spoilers
Yep.
here. We are, but we're not spoiling that here.
Me at Hunger Games forever.
I do know what happens in that
what was I
ending, but I've
saying?
never
What
read
was
them.
I saying? We go off tangent all the time. Okay,
Guys,
So-
if you're new here, we're casual book talkers, and we talk about random shit all the time.
so right on the back of this book, it has the slogan that I'm sure you've heard if you've heard about this book at all, and it says, "A dragon without hold on." It says, "A dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without their dragon is dead. Welcome to the fourth wing." That is what you will have heard all over TikTok, all
Yes.
over Instagram,
What a
wherever
great
you see
tagline.
all your bookish content. That's what you would have heard, and I was hooked from there. But also Divergent with Dragons, and I was like, "Give me the book."
Yes.
I had a great time with this. I rated this 5 stars. This
Same.
has a lot of modern language in it, which a lot of people were like iffy about. Rebecca did that on purpose to, at least this is what she says. Literally, there's an interview somewhere. She said that she did that on purpose to introduce the fantasy genre to
Like modern
people who
readers.
don't normally read fantasy.
This honestly is a really nice introduction to fantasy because it doesn't burn a hole into your brain with the world building.
The hardest part is pronouncing the names.
Yeah.
But like either listen to the audiobook or like look it up on the internet. Someone will tell you how it's said.
Or make up
Or
your own
just do
name.
what all people do when reading fantasy and just read
you
that
could
it's
just
a letter
make up your own
and
names.
it's T something.
It's just make up the sounds. It's fine.
Literally,
no
it's
one
fine.
will know.
No one needs to know.
So this...
Lucia doesn't remember the names anyways.
Yeah. Yes, for new viewers, I'm terrible with names, but I'm pretty good at details, and that's what matters.
That's why you are always the person that does all of these overviews. So I don't know if I did it justice, but I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. It's like a 1.52 on the spice scale, in my opinion. Like, there is on-page spice in here, but it's not the most explicit thing you've ever read.
Like you
read a lot
weren't
of
feeling his
explicit
semen
things.
I
drip
read
down your face.
Quite explicit content. Until I hit dark romance, I did not know what 5 on the spice scale was.
Yes.
Let me tell you, y'all. Scrumdiddlyumptious.
If y'all ever,
However,
if y'all
this
ever
is
read
very,
Bree's
like,
submission,
beginner friendly. Not beginner friendly.
Listen,
but
all
like,
I can tell you is that
if
I
you've
am
read a
here
spicy
for
book, you can do this.
Dragon Daddy.
if you've read ACOTAR, you can read the
I
spice
haven't.
in this.
I haven't read it.
Yeah,
It
Lucia, you need to.
It's not
At this
quite-
point,
it's not Silver Flames level, but it is a little more than Akamath, and that's all you need to know.
Okay.
All right,
I don't know what
that's
any
for
of
the
that
spice.
means.
You don't know what that means, but anybody who's read the ACOTAR universe knows.
You know,
So-
guys, one day I'll read it.
We'll get there. I'll
when you
break her,
finally
don't
do
worry.
read it, you're gonna look at us and be like, "Wow, why didn't I read this before?"
Literally. The plan is to force her to do. I'm not even gonna force her to do 5 or 6 at that point, probably when she gets to it. Videos of book talk. We will do just one massive 3-hour chat.
Yeah,
If we
honestly,
have
that's
to.
what I'm looking forward to. And it more honestly, you know what? Again, guys, y'all know we go off on tangents, and I know this is about the fourth wing. For 1 second, my main thing, the reason why I haven't read ACOTAR is I personally only have the first book. I know me, I get obsessive and very I need to read them all. And there's
I tell you
So
right
what I'm
now-
hearing is we have to send her the rest of the book.
No, we'll just buy them for her when she comes to New York.
Even better.
because
Happy
guys, y'all
early
know me.
Christmas.
I read super fast, and I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
It's true, yeah.
Trust me, by the time you finish the first one, you're gonna want book 2 and 3. And you'd have to buy both of them together, because by the time you finish book 2, you need to go to book 3. I could not imagine reading that on release. I would have cried.
Me sending Casey out on his way home from work to pick up the next 2 books.
You're like, Casey, get the rest of them. Yeah, you made the mistake of buying Akamath and not getting Akawar.
I did, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I need help.
But yes,
On this poor bike.
going back into the fourth wing. Fourth wing is about friendship, about survival, about dragons and daddy dragons, and the bonds of
Wait, there are dragons in this?
mythical
And Shadow
creatures,
Most
and
importantly.
just the friendships
He's
that
not
you.
the original Shadow Daddy.
What, daddy?
No, keep going.
It's fine, it's fine.
It's about, the friendships you make along the way, but also don't get too friendly because someone might backstab you, and also they might die.
Oh my god! Spoilers!
It says right on here, fly or die.
Thank you. I didn't say who
I mean,
dies.
that's true. Literally, from the very beginning, somebody dies.
Like page 2, come on.
Not page 2.
I mean,
Like chapter 3.
a parent dies in like page 2. It's spoken of.
No, he's already dead.
That counts.
I guess.
Off dead.
I guess.
Oh, another thing I wanted to point out for this, which we're gonna just start jumping in talking about the book.
Let's just get
Here's
into
chapter
it.
1. Yeah, here's chapter 1.
Yeah.
On the top here, I would have thought these were just headers, or like random fancy quotes that I always ignore in every book.
Uh-huh.
But that's just me.
you
They
read
are. Listen.
They're meant to be
I
read.
know.
She's
I
young,
always
Katie.
ignore them.
Are you telling me you didn't read a single one of those poems in the start of the...
No, fuck those poems.
What?
They're so... Oh.
Again, listening forces me to listen to them.
Katie's like, get out of my house.
I have to go back. Listen, we're talking about Cassandra Clare going off.
I know.
However, this is actually relevant information. This is straight from the
Yeah,
writer's
that's
codex.
why you're supposed to read them.
I see that. I listened to it, so I got all the information. Don't worry. It was very necessary.
The poems were important too.
I'm just saying, if there are readers out there like me who ignore things that they're not supposed to, it's important to read. If you are not like me, and you read everything on the page because you're a psychopath, who actually reads books the way they're supposed to be read, it's important information that you'll get. Like, actually very, very
Lucia,
important, especially later on, because some of it is from a different character.
I giggled a few times reading those because they were really funny and blunt. I giggled a lot reading this book. I like that it didn't take itself seriously.
No, they're my homies.
It felt like a fun fantasy, which I think having the little bits of like modern language and like the poking fun at itself, almost that it has, was very refreshing. Also, just so everyone can see, because we all love maps. Let's see the map.
Woohoo! Look at me not paying attention to any of that map. I read it on my phone.
Neither do I. Again, I
So I
listened
didn't
to
see a
it.
map.
I look at it and like, oh wow, so pretty, and then I forget where they are. And then I'll go on the internet and have people talk about the books that I've read, and they'll be like, oh, you see how it mentioned this thing? Well, this is where they were. And I'm like, in my brain, they just moved. They're like, I didn't know it was here and then here. And then this other place that has this thing that's native to there was really important. And that's why that played in. I'm like, no.
You know what?
What's awful? I'm that way when it's in like our world.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
oh, you went from New York City to LA? That's like next
That's
door.
right there. That's just right there.
Oh, no, that'll be
It's when
like,
it's
it's
the
like,
other side.
what, 5 hours, 8 hours? I'll tell y'all when I go that way.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's shorter ride coming back than it is going home.
Yeah.
For you.
So coming to New York sucks.
Super.
Going back to San Diego, wonderful.
See, I felt the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take,
But the
but
opposite.
before
Well,
I
you
go over
lose-
there, I'm
you
making a
lose
pit
time
stop in
coming this
Indiana.
way.
Yeah,
That's
true.
what always screwed me. You lose time coming this way. You gain time going the other way.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Side note,
let's
real
talk
quick.
about
My
Violet
favorite
for a
thing.
minute.
My favorite thing is before we like started recording, we're like, yeah, we're gonna have structure. What if people watch this? What
I
if we get
tried,
praised?
people.
And I
I'm
feel like
trying
this
to
is the
keep
most
us-
unhinged.
I'm trying to keep
book
all the
talk that we've
theories
done in
to
a
the
while.
end. It's also more organized because we have not done many spoilers like we
It's
normally
true,
do.
it's true.
I'm trying to keep this as like overview as possible before we get to the spoilers.
All right, listen. We need
So
to
make sure
talk
that you
about-
also put in a spoiler warning because we're definitely not going to say it before we say
Do
one.
you still need spoiler warnings for this? It's been out for so long.
There's
Okay.
a lot of people who haven't read it.
Set- I wouldn't want to be spoiled for ACOTAR if I hadn't read it.
Like,
Like,
don't go watch a book review.
people take shit out of context all the time. Listen, if you've not read this book, but you want somebody to tell you to read this book, this is as far as you can go.
As somebody who spoiled the end of The Last Hours on herself because Google was fucking dumb. It's fine. Okay, so
I ran away. I started seeing one and I was like, nope.
I was so mad. I
was like, I don't want to know.
I didn't even Google that character.
What show?
Okay, we digress.
No, for The Last Hours, there was a mention of a character from the Mortal Instruments, and I Googled, is this the same character as the one from Mortal Instruments? And instead of giving me the answer to that question, Google was like, here's the one who dies. And I'm like,
They do that with anime characters all the time. I'm like, who is this voice actor? Character dies. I'm like, what the fuck?
Why?
Trauma.
Anyway, Google hates readers. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's discuss Violet. So, Violet is the main character.
Yes.
And she is thrown into a world that she doesn't want to be, which is a very common fantasy trope that occurs a lot.
Do or die,
also
Violet.
Mention
It is do or die.
We should mention that, again, her mother is the general, and Violet has two older siblings, a brother named Brennan, and a sister named... I feel like. Mira? Something like that.
But at any rate... and
who both went into the writer's quadrant.
And Violet also has her disabilities, so she's weak and can't do things like normal people can do. And all of this leads to thinking she'd be the same, woe is me, my life sucks, I can't do this, yada yada, kind of character arc, where usually the love interest, main boy across from her brings her out of that. Yes. That's not Violet. This girl,
she's like, I miss sex.
She took
the way
everything
she
in
thirsts,
strides.
The way she thirsts after those boys. 2 chapters in and I'm introduced to at least 6 different hot men.
Very attractive men.
But she also, she doesn't want to be here. She doesn't want to do this. No. But she's like, I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to
make sure that I survive because I'm a survivor.
I'm not going to fail just because I don't want to be here. I'm not going to not do my best because I don't want to be here. I'm not going to feel sorry for myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in the very first chapter, when we meet her, she overpacked a bag.
She did.
Had so many books in there, and her sister comes back and is like, no. What the fuck are you doing? I'm repacking this. She's like, no, I need my books. She's like, you can take this one. That's it. You don't need the rest of these.
What about killing people?
And here's perfectly tailored armor for you that I made.
From the scales?
Has dragon scales on it from her sister's dragon, which I think is like a green tail or whatever, but still. Like, dragon scales are big. Homegirl knows a boy, I think it's a boy, who can make very big things small.
Oh, yeah.
And small things very big. She made sure to say that.
LOL.
If you know what I'm saying. So, she gives her dragon scale armor to help protect her, which it comes in very handy.
Very clutch.
Many a times. And she gives her, traction boots. Yeah. So they have grip on them rather than her, slippery ones that she had.
Right.
Which comes in to be very helpful when she gets to the parapet. And her sister also says, find Dane when you get there. He'll protect you. Stay away from Zayden Ryerson. The second I heard that, I was like, best believe I'm not staying away from that bitch.
I know, as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, they fucking eventually. I didn't know it was going to be the first book. Okay, first of all, when I started this book, I knew that there was going to be a second one because I knew it was coming out soon, right? I knew that. Yeah. I was thinking maybe it was going to be a trilogy. There was supposed to be 5 fucking books.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
we'll get to the theories at the end. Don't worry. We'll cycle back. We're trying to have a little bit of structure. But so that's that. So then Violet meets, when she gets there, she meets a couple people.
Yeah.
Rhiannon, I believe, and Dylan. You learn a lot about Dylan.
And then he dies.
You have to give the spoiler warning before you say things. So, again, Lucia, in editing, the second we start talking about Violet, throw a massive spoiler warning for the rest of the book.
That seems fair. That's when we're talking about the book.
Yes. So, from here on out, literally everything is going to be a spoiler.
I'm still sad about Dylan.
I know.
He had such chapters.
Literally, you learn way too much about him for him
to die.
But, obviously. So, man, wears a ring around his neck because he wants to propose to his girlfriend, but it's unlucky to propose before he makes it past the parapet. You have to make it to the quadrant before you can, get married and, give your future a chance. You can't plan for your future like that. Homeboy immediately falls off the parapet. Immediately.
He had no chance.
You learn all of this about how much he loves his girlfriend, how much he's like so excited.
Though,
he is so excited to be a rider.
He had golden retriever energy, and
yes,
I don't think it would have worked. It wouldn't have worked as a rider.
He wouldn't have really made it.
You don't want a dog on a dragon.
R.I.P. Dylan.
Or maybe I do.
Yeah. But what Violet does with Rhiannon is she swaps one of her boots to make sure that Rhiannon also has grip.
Yeah.
So she hinders herself to help Rhiannon, this person she has just met.
Yep.
And is like, I'm gonna help you because I feel like we should. And one of them has smaller feet.
Yeah, so
I think Rhiannon has smaller feet.
Ill-fitted boots.
Or no,
yep.
One of them has smaller feet. The other one, she was swimming in it. Either way, they're both ill-footed.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not working. But it's fine. They both make it over. But before she even goes, she meets Xaden.
It's true. She does meet
and Xaden notices, because he's at the very beginning, he notices that they switched boots. And Rhiannon goes, I believe Rhiannon goes first. Also, we meet this bitch named Jack.
Exactly.
All my bitches hate Jack. But he was annoying from day one.
All my homies hate Jack.
One. But we'll get there.
All
my homies hate Jack. Hashtag Jack hate train.
And this is real hate, not
this is genuine hate. Yeah, it's not resand hate like you had. This is genuine hatred. Horrible human being. But
and for no
was,
reason.
Like, already taunting and being like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, for no reason.
For no reason. It's just like, you're a Sorengale? Fuck you. Like, okay.
I guess.
I guess.
So Xaden notices that, like, they switched their boots and is like, alright. And he already has hatred for Violet because...
Doesn't he vow to kill her right then and
there?
Yes.
Yeah. He's like, you will be mine to deal with.
With his penis.
To deal with.
He didn't say how.
Period. But he, like, knew it already. He, like, had it, like, animosity towards her because Xaden was forced to be in the Riders Quadrant because he's a child of the parents who'd had a rebellion however long ago. Like, 20 years ago.
I think it said 15.
But
I thought it was 15 or 14.
Like...
Violet is 20.
And he's 23.
Maybe 5 or 6 years when it happened.
And he's 23. I think it was 14 or 15 years.
Yeah. Within the last decade or so.
Because, like, the children of the, whatever they call them, separationists, rebels, were young. Like,
yeah, they were like babies. They were like 4. So, yeah, I get, so within, like, 10, 15 years, something like that. So the children are being punished when the parents were already murdered.
Which, like, when I finally pieced together how young those kids were when they were like, we're gonna mark you and punish you for the rest of your life.
Bitches,
like,
right?
What the fuck are you doing?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm
so
sorry.
That's awful. So there's animosity there just because she's a Sorengale. She did nothing wrong. She just isn't a family who did that.
She too was a child.
Yes. So there's all of that happening. She makes it across the parapet, barely, with Jack yelling at her from behind. How does she make it,
though? By reciting history to herself.
Homegirl is, like, so nervous that she's like, I gotta calm myself down.
Calms her nerves by reciting
history.
Honestly,
starts talking about math.
Honestly, goals.
Whatever floats your boat, homegirl.
Yep.
But
some people do numbers because it's like a pattern and helps calm them. She's like, I got my history and I'm here for it.
Just starts spewing facts.
I think I would like...
Some of which were important, apparently.
What would y'all do to calm yourself?
Where this man says something and then the other person goes, I just want you to stop saying odd shit. That's how we all felt when she starts saying stuff.
Stop.
Just stop saying odd shit.
No, honestly, I would listen. I really
life
think that's
cool. Crossing a parapet.
No, she said some important things.
It's good history that you learn. Like, it's not just nonsense. It is stuff that is important for, like, the context of the world.
It does give you background.
But
what would y'all say to calm yourselves down?
It's laughable to think about. I would literally just start panicking.
I have anxiety. I don't know the definition of calm.
What is calm? In order for me to calm myself down, I have to completely shut down. Like, stop talking, don't touch me, lights off.
It's actually
I'm curled into a ball.
I think I would start singing songs.
You know, I could see that for you.
Well, whenever I would wake up from a nightmare, I'd have to, like, turn on TV or something like that. I have to fully distract myself.
It has to be Family Guy.
I don't watch Family Guy.
I'm too scared to sleep. I need to hear Peter Griffin.
Peter Griffin.
Flawless. That was a terrible impression.
Like, I would... Oh, when I was watching Manifest, sometimes the episodes would be just a little bit too real. And I'd have to come up and put on Family Guy before I could go to bed.
I do remember you talking about how
Yeah.
you watched.
I haven't
episode
seen that
of
show.
Family Guy.
I have to.
Okay,
Manifest was
we
pretty good.
digress.
I'd
We
suggest it.
digress.
I've heard about it. People tell
so
me
she
it's
makes it
good.
across. She finds Dane, and he's like, "What the fuck? Why are you here? You're not supposed to be
Bro,
here."
I knew he was
Dane
gonna be
for
a
a total
bitch to
of
the
5
moment that we
pages.
met
Yeah,
him.
Dane. Well, no, I think about a chapter. It was like the
No.
third time that he was like, "You need to leave." Where I was like, "Okay, it's a little sus."
She said no once, and that should be enough for you.
That is enough.
I knew he was a bitch
However,
right away. Why again? Because it's his name.
So
That's fair. That's fair.
For those who
Sorry if I'm
don't
looking
know,
down.
that his name is
we're
Dane,
on a
right?
different thing. FaceTime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dane.
And who else do we know that's a Dane?
Dane Greenbrier, son of a bitch. Did you just put that
Yep,
together?
sure did.
She sent that in the chat.
I didn't look at it.
Fair enough.
Dane also has Gale energy for my Hunger Game girlies. So
And I want to say Tamlin energy, but like
I could also see the Tamlin energy.
not quite as aggressive.
I don't know who that is.
Actually, almost worse.
In a way, worse.
By the end, worse. Worser. It got worser. Because it gets worser.
Worser.
My phone is blowing up, sorry. However, she finds Dane. Dane is a second year, so he's already gone through like the threshing and all this other stuff that we will get to. So Homeboy is there. He is a squad leader, which is different from a wing leader. So there are like 4 squads and then 4 wings. So there's a whole lot of different like little groups that happen. So she like finds Dane and he's like, "Why are you here?" Pulls her aside and like fixes her because she's like freaking the fuck out.
She like dislocated her knee.
Yeah, she hurt
yeah,
herself.
she like hurt herself, and he like helps her, and she needed like salve and whatnot. So he's like very protective of her. They're like childhood best friends. So you're already like, we love a good,
Yeah, like her
we
dad
love a good
and
childhood friends to lovers.
his dad and her
storyline.
mom
That's,
work
like,
together.
his
setting it
dad
up.
and her mom are like
They work together.
Yeah, real close.
They're like
Yeah.
counterparts. They're like, I don't remember what his dad is, but they're like literally.
I'm pretty
Like,
sure
a
he's
step
like an
sister, yeah.
advisor or something to her.
Yeah, something
like
very
that.
close. Like have a good
to the
relationship.
point where like every time they moved, like station, they both moved.
They were
yeah, so
fucking.
they're always within each other's orbit.
Yeah.
Imagine.
So he's like being very protective, like very big brother, but you're like ready for that childhood best friends to lovers like storyline, which it was set up really well.
It
No,
was
I
fun.
knew immediately
you
when
were
she
kind of
said how
low-key
hot
rooting for it.
the dude was that I was like, Dane's gonna be nothing.
She said like 3 dudes were hot though.
But
she
like
said, like,
she
every- I
literally
think she even
said that.
Jack
What?
was
How do you say his name?
And that's disrespectful.
Exton. How do you say his name?
Yeah, Zayden.
Zayden.
Zayden. Zayden. Yeah.
Mhm.
You just call him Dragon Daddy. It's fine.
Okay, so literally she said as soon as she saw him, this is the best, most hottest guy I've ever seen in my life, or some shit like that. I was like, all right, that's him.
Which I don't want to spoil for you, Lucia, but for my girlies that know, who have read that series that we've mentioned,
The Akatar.
it circles back. I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not saying nothing about nothing. It circles back. But the girlies that get it, get it.
The ones who don't, you better get it.
Don't.
Yeah,
Better
read the
start
damn
getting
book.
And when I go up there, I'm just gonna grab your copy and just read. I'm just gonna be on the couch.
Honestly, send it. We're gonna have to stay home at least one full day because we only have one car.
Period.
We'd be like, la la la, how you doing? I'm good. I'm just reading.
We're digressing so much.
It's fine.
I love this.
What are the characters?
I'm trying to go through like chapter by chapter. That's
That's
what we were
fair.
supposed to do from the very beginning.
Listen, we're doing it. We're
I'm
doing it.
trying real hard. So like there's that and whatnot. And then like she switches her boots back with Rhiannon and he's like he tells Rhiannon to like run away so that he can have like private time with her and like,
He tells
actually
her
talk.
to go tell the lady.
Yes.
Writing
Says,
down
go tell this other person who's like taking inventory of all the people that
that
made
you're
it
both in my squad.
that you're both going to be in my squad and like whatever. So then they're drafted into that. Zayden, so Dane's in the second wing. Second squad, second wing. So then Zayden like sees everything. Zayden is the wing leader of the 4th.
AKA
Like, higher
Fourth
up.
Wing.
So
Title of
he
the
sees
book.
everything. He sees that Violet's there with Dane, and she's like trying not to say like make notice that she knows Dane. Because Dane's like, you can't let them know that you know me.
Yeah, they
Not
feel
yet.
that immediately.
He's like, we can't do that because they can't know we play favorites here. We always play favorites here. So Zayden notices it and is like, I'm gonna fuck shit up. So he makes his second squad switch with Dane's squad.
Yeah.
So those two switch.
I read that
and Dane is now in the fourth wing.
Literal Pikachu face. It was like
I laughed,
as
dude.
if she wouldn't be
in the fourth wing. Like the second wing. What's this? And Zane's like, come over here, boo boo girl. So now, like, she's where she's not supposed to be. She's supposed to be as far away from Zane as possible. Never gonna happen under my watch.
I never snitched on Daddy.
She gets to her room. And then they go through a lot of like training. So they're doing like
a lot of
they're doing hand-to-hand combat, they're doing like with weapons and whatnot. Homegirl is super smart and very observant of people.
First she gets the diary.
She does get the diary. She realizes in her pack, or no, her sister
paid someone
to sneak it under her pillow. So then, or like under her bed, something like that. So she finds the diary from her deceased brother
to her sister.
So Brennan is the oldest, and when her other sister, I don't remember her name. It'd be so much easier. Mira. It is definitely Mira.
I'm pretty sure it starts with an M.
We're very sorry. I know it starts with an M, but
that's what I remember.
It is Mira. It's right there.
Yeah. Mira.
Okay, so it's Mira. Brennan writes a journal of his experiences to help her through it. So then Mira gives it to Violet and be like, "This helped me. I hope that this helps you." So then she has all this like inside secret, which is all the stuff like those little entries in the beginning of all the chapters.
The important stuff.
It's either from the codex or it's from Brennan's journal.
Yeah.
So which is relevant information to what you're going to learn about in that chapter or chapter like subsequent. So that's really fun. But Brennan unfortunately passed away during the
rebellion.
Zayn's dad killed Brennan.
Yeah, Zayn's dad killed Brennan. And Violet's mom killed Zayden's dad, and there's a literal line where she's like, "So we're even." But hop off my back.
So in that diary, Brennan tells her where to go look for who she would be fighting each week in the hand-to-hand combat, and so Homegirl poisons them.
Literally poisons everybody. She gets on the breakfast because they have to do some sort of job.
Right.
So she gets on the breakfast crew and just poisons their meals specifically so that she always has the upper hand.
Just enough so she wins.
Yes, just enough so they're sick and they're a little bit weaker.
Yeah.
And Zayden notices it. Zayden picks it up.
He calls her out, like...
Yeah.
He does.
Because she did it again. He's like, you're not learning anything by not being able to challenge yourself. So Homeboy at one point gets into the ring. And I'm like, hold on, I was not expecting the wing leader to step through. Which I have a lot of reactions on my my Bookstagram. I literally have a highlight story. They're spoiler free until there's like the one of them that I was still kind of vague, but they're spoiler free. Not that you've made it this far without knowing exactly what happens in the book. But yeah, I had all my reactions as I was listening to this, but I was not expecting the wing leader to step in, and she has like knives everywhere on her.
A weirdly sexual encounter.
Weirdly.
It was foreplay.
With a lot of eyes. I will say with a lot of eyes. Very foreplay heavy.
Very foreplay.
He was into it. But he was trying to teach her that like he was disarming her and like showing her with her own weapons where to attack him as he was disarming her. Like I'm pretty sure. Either him or her.
Yeah.
Either way, he was like one or the other. Like showing her like how easy it was to like be able to find everything and like here's where you should attack to do this or like that and everything else. So like is training her and like you aren't learning anything if you aren't challenging yourself. So like Homegirl is doing all of that, doing the most, poisoning everybody. So observant that she learns overhearing a conversation with Jack and his homeboys that he's allergic to oranges. So she's like, bet, I'm gonna give you a fucking orange then, whore. So he gets ill.
Yes.
And they fight a little bit, but she's like, he's gonna kill me if we fight.
So, one of the most important things to remember is that just because you are going to this basically training school to get a dragon doesn't mean that you're gonna get a dragon. Some people who have to take the test over, and just because you survived your first year doesn't mean you'll survive the second year. And again, just because a dragon can decide if you're worthy or not to ride them, basically.
Yes.
And then after you get a dragon,
let's talk about the threshing.
What?
as we're talking about this, let's just skip forward to the threshing. Homegirl is so cunning, and like a lot of things happen. Other people die during like all of the stuff leading up to the threshing. Like they do like an obstacle course and whatnot, and Homegirl figures that out. Low-key cheats, but like it's fine. Because that obstacle course is supposed to mimic them being able to get on their dragons.
Yeah.
So she has to like American Ninja Warrior style
Yeah.
go up this really high wall.
That's how I thought of it
And like
too.
she's small and can't do it. So she uses her daggers to like climb up when she gets almost all the way up there, and everyone's like, she cheated, and he's like, no, she didn't. Technicality. Whatever, she's fine.
She did spit out the rule and it worked.
Yes.
She sure did, because she's knowledgeable like that. She read the handbook, did you? So like it's whatever. So then they go through they do like a pre-threshing where they get to walk through the dragons.
Yes.
That come, and then we meet this gold dragon. This really small, tiny gold dragon. Which is like very rare. So they had classes where they were like learning about all these different types of dragons. And there was like this one black dragon that was like the shit.
Like Mac Daddy.
Yeah, Mag Daddy. And then there was also this is she a feather tail?
Yeah, she's a feather tail. So
Okay.
they had no idea what she looked like because until
she
that
never went
moment,
anywhere.
no one had ever seen a feather
Yeah.
tail.
So she's also very rare. So we have like the big Mac Daddy that everybody wants, and then but is like not going to be seen because his rider died tragically.
Yeah, so
And
he
it took
wasn't
forever.
supposed to be part
And then
of
we
the
have the
gathering
little-
or whatever
We
they're
have this
called.
little tiny runt dragon. Jack wants to fucking kill her.
Yeah, everyone's laughing at her because she's so tiny.
Yeah. So during the actual threshing, Violet has this feeling that she needs to go somewhere else. So she goes to this clearing, follows Jack and his like two best friends,
Yeah.
and they're like ready to kill this dragon because nobody needs a runt who can't even fly. Like, it's just gonna ruin the whole squad.
Yeah.
So he's like ready to kill this dragon. Violet fucks shit up. She's fighting everybody. This is a 1v3, or at least 2.
Well,
think it's
it's
a 3.
3, and then he runs away.
And then one of them runs away like a coward.
And
And then another one she knocks the fuck out.
yeah.
And it's also a rule that wing leaders and squad leaders cannot help. So whatever happens during threshing happens, and like it's whatever.
Did y'all think that Violet was gonna bond with the golden dragon simply because of their sizes?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was the dragon that she was gonna get.
Yeah. And then you hear
We will get there. Hold on. We will get there. So Xaden sees her like being attacked and is like, oh, and so does Dane. Dane, stoic, is like, I'm not gonna move at
he's
all.
bitch made.
Violet sees Xaden take a step towards her. He's like ready to intervene.
Yeah.
And then that's when Homeboy shows up.
Oh.
Ternanog, the black dragon that we just learned about.
That wasn't going to bond.
That wasn't going to bond, was not supposed to be there, shows up and is like, what the fuck is happening? And scares off poor Jack.
No, Violet scares Jack.
Violet does scare Jack.
She hits him in the shoulder with a knife and he runs the other way like a fat bitch.
But it's also because the dragon was right behind her. It is also because Taryn was there. So then she like turns around and was like, I am so sorry. And when a dragon bonds with you, they share thoughts. They can talk to you now. You can only hear the thoughts of a bonded dragon. So whatever dragon you're bonded to. So Taryn is now talking to her, and she's like, oh, the fuck is happening? I'm stressed. Which also, the reason why a dragon without a rider is a tragedy and a rider without the dragon is sad is because dragons give you their powers. And if the dragon dies, you have too much power that you cannot control. That just kills you. At least that's my understanding of it.
Makes sense.
It's the only way that would make sense, really.
Yeah.
So Homeboy is like the most powerful. Also, she bonds with the little one.
2 dragons.
She gets 2
Girl
dragons.
gets 2
Two.
dragons.
damn, and I can't even get one
2
man.
dragons. Period. Like, that's what I'm saying. Everyone's shook by this thing. She
Yeah.
also can't sit on the dragon. She flies with Taryn and she falls. And normally, if you fall off the dragon's not going to catch you. He's like, fuck you,
He
whatever.
catches her so many times.
He catches her
So many
every
times.
time.
He finds her
He calls her
worthy.
little one, and I'm like, damn, I love that. That's
He's
so
also
cute.
bonded
A silver
with-
one.
what's his
silver
name's
one, because
dragon?
she has like silver hair at the end. Yeah, that's the thing about Violet. She has like two-tone hair. It goes silver at the end for some reason.
I think it's part of her illness.
Yeah.
I think it's
Either
because
way.
of lightning.
Shut up. We're not there yet. So then everyone's shook.
Right? All the important people back
Also-
in the field are like, no, you can't.
Also, should mention, and she gets away with it because the dragons are like
the dragons decide.
The dragons
not
decide,
people.
not the people.
The dragons are in charge here.
Literally. I wouldn't question the dragon.
I
What do you mean? She gets 2 dragons. She gets all the dragons, actually.
She can have whatever dragons they tell her she has.
The dragons decided, not her. An important thing to mention is that the only time that you were safe during this like trial area of like trying to get into the wings and whatnot to be in the rider's quadrant, the only time you were safe from other people being able to kill you is in sleep, because that's just a coward move. Don't stab a man when they're that vulnerable.
Yeah, don't be bitch made.
So shortly after Homegirl gets 2 dragons, and not everybody gets a threshing, you can kill them and try and take their dragon. The dragon still gets to choose
Isn't
if they
that
want
the
to
most bizarre
rebond with
thing?
you. But
Right? I feel like, why would a dragon pick someone that murdered somebody?
Well, that's how I feel about
you
Jack.
murdered my chosen, so why would I pick you?
Well, that's how I feel about
You're-
Jack.
you're
Jack
more
gets a
cunning?
dragon.
You're stronger?
Yeah,
like,
I'm
no.
surprised that Jack bonds too. You'd think that dragon
Yeah.
would have been like, you're gonna kill the little gold one, because those dragons know
Yeah,
what she is.
They know everything.
Which is what
So it's like, whatever.
I want to. But this is
So-
pin that conversation for later when we're talking about
Oh,
theories.
no! We also forgot to mention this really fun part. Is, so the children of the rebels aren't supposed to meet. They're not supposed to be in a group.
I know,
They're
and that's
three.
how she gets their trust.
And while Homegirl Violet is out trying to get her poison earlier on, she like hears a meeting and she's like, oh shit, I'm about to get caught. So she climbs a tree and hides. Zayden can control shadows, so Homeboy knew she was there the entire time and speaks a little bit in code so that you don't get the spoiler at the end that we will mention at the end, so nobody say anything.
Even though this is
We'll
a
be at the
spoiler
end.
video.
Yes, but I want it to be, because what if somebody just wants the spoilers anyways? All right, people sometimes want to watch an hour-long plus video about a book before they read it, and I want that
Listen.
surprise. If they get it this far, I want that to be the very end.
I used
What
to
if
be
they
the
stop?
kind of person that would read the last chapter before I read the book.
So was I, and that's
When
why
I was a kid, I
was
did.
not ready for the ending of Allegiant. I was very shook. But so he knew, and he was like kind of speaking a little bit in code. And he was literally like, everyone was like, when can we kill Violet? When can we kill Violet? And he's like, she's mine to deal with.
Again, didn't say kill.
Like, leave her alone. When the time comes, she's mine to deal with.
Dick.
Period. So, back to the whole threshing thing. Homegirl has 2 dragons.
Mhm.
She's winning, stunting on life. A group of people are ready to murder the fuck out of her to try and get at least
Well,
one of the dragons.
Before you get into that, her dragon is mated.
I mentioned that.
Oh my God,
I
yeah,
said
no.
that.
It was before that.
Yeah. Almost
Yeah.
immediately she learns that.
She
I
learns-
said that. I literally said that.
Here's you probably didn't hear it say it. I wasn't listening. I'm sorry.
I know you're on a roll.
I'm trying to like describe this book. This is the one video that I'm talking everything. Normally I sit here and I start yawning because I'm like, I don't have anything to say.
So the whole reason that Taryn even shows up is because he's
Because-
mated to Zayden's dragon.
Sigale, who
And
was also there and witnessing everything,
she
was
was
like, you need to
watching.
save this this little golden dragon and this tiny child that's trying her best.
So she was like, listen, this girl is gonna get herself killed trying to protect this dragon.
Come save her. Because
She's like, you want to get sex? Go help her.
Literally. So, they also share feelings. So Homegirl wakes up in the middle of the night, hot and bothered. No, this was afterwards.
That was after.
It was it was afterwards because it was after that she gets
No,
Liam.
they find out
It
they're
was-
mates after threshing.
Oh, so that was it. Yeah, so they're mated dragon. They're mated pair.
Because that's when Zayden is like, you're now tied to me. You die, I die.
I die.
Because last time Taryn lost a rider, he almost died.
Yeah,
And when a mated pair, when one passes away, the other one
Yeah.
usually does.
that's very important lore. However, so now she has 2 dragons. She's sleeping, just trying to get her beauty rest. Jack, one of her friends.
Not Jack. Jack gets a dragon.
No, I thought it was Jack went in there as well.
No, it was someone from her wing.
It was someone from her wing and like 2 other people, and then somebody that we learn in the next chapter who is a squad leader or no, a wing leader.
Yeah.
I think wing leader of the second, who is like Dane's friend. So that's important to know. She's the one that lets them in there. These boys are trying to kill her to get her dragon. She's like, what is happening?
In her sleep. Taryn
So-
wakes her up.
Yeah, Taryn wakes her up. And it's like, wake up, little one. So he is like, Taryn is talking to Sigale, who's talking to Xaden to go get her, to save her. So Xaden barges in as she's like fighting for her life, and he's like, "You're all dead." And I'm like, "That's the hottest thing that you could have said right now, homeboy." Oh! And he does. He fulfills. He kills all of them.
That's
Every last one of them.
After Violet stops time, though. You can't leave that part out.
Violet did stop time because Andarna, which is the little golden one, which is a baby, by the way.
Right, 2 years, I think.
Little baby dragon, not a full grown, not a runt. Literally a baby.
Literally a baby.
A child. Stopped time.
Who
gave her
parents.
Lent her power and was like, I'm tired now.
So basically, Andarna's parents passed away at some point, so she has no one to like tell her she can't go.
She's the mated parents' child.
So Taryn and Sigale are like kind of adoptive, like aunt and uncle who are just kind of winging it and keeping an eye on her.
And because she's a child, her magic is more raw.
Yeah.
Which is why Violet can stop time.
Yes, she lends her power. So,
but if she uses it too much, she can kill Andarna.
Yeah. Well, no, she can take her powers from her.
Drain her.
Drain her, which I guess might kill her, probably. But either way, at least drains her powers. So that's lore for that. So Xaden kills everybody, and then it's like, homegirl, what happened? What's wrong? Like, what? Who did this? And she's like, you're not gonna believe me. He's like, try me.
Try me.
So she tells him. Next chapter, he snitches on that bitch. I don't remember what her name is. Like Lauren or something.
I feel like it's Amber.
I think so.
It's Lauren. Amber, Lauren, whoever the fuck Dane's bestie is.
I'm pretty sure Dane was fucking her. Let's be
probably
real.
At least once. At least once. And he's like, what do you mean, Violet? During this time, before that time, sometime during the book, Violet learns that Dane's power is he can read memories.
Well, I knew he was a liar.
Listen, another thing. Right after the threshing and a bonding for somebody, one of these guys was going crazy because he could read minds and read thoughts.
Right.
They ended up killing him. And Zane was like, start reciting your facts, homegirl, if you don't want your deepest, darkest secrets coming out right now.
So you realize why they killed him, right?
Like, you're thinking this and you're thinking that. Yes, because it's a security risk.
Yeah.
Well, because they'll know that you'll figure out the truth.
Dane's is tied to touch.
Yeah, but Dane's is tied to touch. And so he can only read your immediate memory, or like any memory, right? Or at least
it's immediate.
Like, within the past, like
your
recent memories, not like immediate, but like
he has
very recent memories.
He has to touch
He
you,
said
your temple.
Yeah,
he said.
And he was already always touching.
That's
Violet,
why I knew he was fucking sus.
It like, if you ever do a reread of this, you people. Count how many times he touches her face, because I want to cut a bitch.
Listen,
because I read it as he's so cute and loving, and like, no, he's not.
Nah.
Hey, guys, continue. I really gotta pee.
So,
continue, okay?
That was the one time Violet was like, "Don't touch me." Like, I didn't give you permission to read my thoughts. So that was the only time.
Continue, okay?
Being like, "Here, let me read your thoughts."
Okay, I got you. Just keep going.
Okay. I don't know what's happening anymore. I'm ignoring the background because I'm trying to keep us on track. So he's like, this is the only time that he tries to touch her without her permission, essentially, and letting her know that the reason he wants to touch her is to read her thoughts. She's like, no, don't do that. And Zane was like, I believe her. And then he's like, well, just talk to the dragons. And homegirl's dragon snitches.
He does. He
snitches. He's like, that sure did happen. And then they were like, so she dies by dragon fire, and she's screaming for her dragon, be like, please save me, please save me. And the dragon, like, low-key wants to. But, like, and Taryn's like, you better stay in line, bitch. She's gonna die, or you're gonna die with her. So the dragon's like, whatever, fine. And homegirl dies. And then there's a little bit of animosity there. But, like, slay for Xaden.
And then Xaden gives her a bodyguard.
Yes, Xaden gives her a bodyguard. The sweet baby boy, Liam. I love him so very much. And she's like, why do I have a shadow? I don't need him. Stop. It's too soon. Figuratively and literally. So then she has a shadow. Sweet baby boy. He checks up on her every night. And she wakes up in the night and is like hot and bothered. And is like, if I don't send Liam away right now, I'm about to jump his ass.
Yes.
So she's then like sends him away. She runs because she's gotta get fresh air. She runs into Xaden And
Yes,
he's
she
like,
does.
first time, huh?
He's
like, what is happening?
Smoking weed of some
Yeah.
kind.
He's like, it takes the edge off. And she's like, what? He's like, they're having sex. And she's like, oh my god.
The dragons.
The dragons are having sex. He's like, oh my god, sex? Ah, sex. That's that sound.
What position do dragons have sex in?
Oh my god.
What position do you think, Lucia?
Cause like, do those
Animal
tails
style.
come up?
I mean, they're probably like this.
They're like frontal,
Like one lays on its back, and the other one is like flying.
and it just like spreading its legs.
Goes.
Lucia, I want to see photo diagrams when you come.
Somebody figure that out.
Draw it out for me. I want to know.
Yeah, add it to the video right here. This is how it happens.
I'll just stick figure dragon sex.
So then they have a hot makeout session.
Yeah, they do.
Ew.
That made it less
They have
hot.
a very hot makeout session, and she's like, I did not know
Slurp,
this was happening.
slurp.
Ew. And then they like break it off, and they're like, it's okay, we're fine.
And
And
then
other things happen. What else happens? A lot of training. A lot
of
It is
training.
A lot of training. A lot of. They're
A
working
lot of her
up.
falling off a dragon.
Yeah, they're basically working up towards the end of the year war games,
Yeah.
where all the wings compete against each other, and it's like this final push to make sure you're ready. Make sure the graduating class is ready. So they go. It is
A lot
just
of more boring things happen.
it's a lot of mundane training
Yeah.
and just learning. Violet is getting better. Her and Zayden are getting closer. He gets
Yeah.
special sword or knives made for her.
Yep.
That are
Uh,
easier for her to use.
She gets a saddle built for her
Right,
dragon.
he makes a saddle for
I'm
her.
like, that's
and
so
then
nice. And she
they make-
refuses to use it for a while, and then Taryn is like, just please, dear God, use it.
and then they end up making like a little clip thing for Andarna, so when she's too tired, she can
You
just
just
clip,
clip
on
on
It's
there.
the
there.
fucking cutest thing.
So cute. I love it
Right.
so much.
And then, so her squad wins some initial game, and they
They get
get
to go on a
sent
trip.
out to the front lines
Yeah.
where her sister is.
Yes.
Yep, so she gets to see her sister.
But also Rhiannon's family is nearby, so they
Yeah, so
sneak
they
out
sneak
to go
out.
see Rhiannon's family.
And Zayden finds them. So Zayden wasn't originally invited. The thing about the mated pair is that they can't be separated for too long.
In 3 days
So
is
one of
probably
them would always have
max.
to, yeah, like 3 days is the max that they've
Yeah.
done. So one of them would always have to go somewhere. And there was this whole thing. One of the people in her squad was like, well, why would it'd be so unfair if you always had to fly back to Zayden. And Zayden literally made a comment of like, I'm here, aren't I? I'm not taking her away from training.
Yeah.
I'm actually taking away from my very important job.
I think
for my
Mira
dragon to
was
be
the
here.
one that was yelling about it because he shows up and Mira doesn't like him because of the
Yeah.
whole background, and
Yeah.
they argue.
Dane also has some like choice
and Mira
words for
like
him.
looks at Dane and Zayden and like slaps their heads together figuratively, not literally, although she should have. And it's like, get your shit together.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's like, just fucking
and like
pull it
everything
out.
like happens. And so that because they're like trying to like strategize using their squad and their powers, like how they would do like infiltrate something.
Yeah.
So then Violet reveals what Dane's power is. Dane's like, what the fuck, Violet? And Dane's like, you think I wouldn't have known that? I'm your squad leader. I have more
anyway,
clearance than you.
In the
or
middle of
wing
this
leader.
whole pretend scenario, the base that they're at actually gets attacked.
So then they have to like
They have to
hike it up.
evacuate.
Yeah. And like there's this whole cute thing. And Zane's like, for me. Leave for me.
Violet didn't want to leave. Violet didn't want to leave Mira behind.
And he's just like, please just go. So she goes.
Does.
I think they kiss too.
They
She's
do.
just
He
like, for me,
kisses her
please.
to
Please
distract
for me.
her until the dragons
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
Like,
'Cause
thanks
they're the
for the
last ones to leave.
smooch.
Oh, also, Taryn made a really funny comment at one point where he's like, should I get the wing leader? Taryn is my favorite. His commentary is
literally
so
just
great.
a sassy old man.
He's just
Love
like, he's
him.
literally the best.
He
I love
knows.
him.
He's
and
been
you need to
he's
read
been
it
up
just
in
for
there.
that.
Right.
He knows.
So then you go
He
back
knows.
and there's just more of this. So there was this moment, Violet, when she's done with breakfast duty, ends up bringing things back and forth to the library with
Yes,
the
and
scribes.
she meets one of her old friends.
And one of those times, her friend gives her like a report from the front lines
yes,
that she accidentally reads because it falls open, and then
she
that's
has
never given
gears
to
are turning.
them.
Yeah. So they went to class like the next day, and she's like ready. Her and Liam are like ready because Liam was with her, obviously.
Liam is really good
they read it.
friends, almost
They
like
go
a
to
brother
class.
with Satan.
Yes.
But every day they get a briefing on what's happening.
Of what
on
happened,
the front
and they're like
lines.
waiting for that briefing to happen, and they're like,
This is sus. Why don't we know?
Why aren't we being told this? So then they're like, what else aren't we being told?
Right.
Like, what's happening that we don't know about? So
and
then
initially
like,
they just go, "Oh, it must have been classified, and we didn't see it,
and we
they
didn't
rushed off.
see it."
But then, so as you get to the end of the year, they go to the big final end of game thing. They have their party first.
Yeah,
and Violet and Zayden do the deed.
You can't just brush that off.
Very
They destroy
do the deed.
2 bedrooms.
Yes,
2.
So by the end of that night, she's in his room, very naked, and then we learn it's a fake warning bell. But it's supposed to be a real warning bell. Or no, is it the second one? Whatever. Like, the second time they have sex, by the time they're in Zayden's room, stuff's happening. And they hear a warning bell. And there's a homeboy that's, like, knocking on the door. And is like, I would love to leave right now. I know it's happening.
So the first time they have sex is after one of the games when people die, when one of her people die.
Oh, yeah. We totally forgot the whole reason they won that original game.
Homegirl murdered the fuck out of Jack.
She did murder Jack. Because she finally got her signet, and she can control lightning.
And she's like, fuck you, Jack.
Shocked that boy out of existence.
Yep. Said, goodbye.
And she's like, I killed a guy. So she was like, I killed someone today. Please, Zayden, please have sex with me. And he was all like, I'm like,
please make me forget. He's like, I would love nothing more. I would love nothing more than to pleasure you. Thank you very much.
And
so he does.
That's why you texted us,
and then everybody's like, we gotta go.
That.
So she puts on
when I texted you. Yeah. I was like, I'm into Dragon Daddy.
And I was like, new kink unlocks? And you're like, maybe.
Maybe. We've always been into wingspan.
It's true.
So then she like has to put his jacket on, which says wing leader on it, and like says like it says something that is obvious for Zayden.
Yeah.
So then Rhiannon is like, oh well, before Dane gets here, let me just hide in front of you and cover the jackets so nobody knows. So there was that. They get a briefing and everything, and then they're like, well, this was stupid.
Right. So they were all like ripped out of bed, thinking that they were being attacked,
and they were
so it was a final test.
The start of their final trial.
Yeah. So then, again, Dane has been collecting information that the bitch should not have known.
But we don't know that yet.
We know this at the end, as they're getting ready to go.
It's
to the war games.
No, it's after they get there. So they're sending them all out to different outposts, and they're supposed to man those outposts and I think there's some version of capture the flag still occurring, or supposed to be occurring. But they tell Zayden.
Yeah, it was supposed to.
Yeah. Zayden and his team is going to man a post that's outside of the wards.
And Zayden's team is made up of all people who, children of the rebellion.
People who are children of the rebels.
Yeah. Except he trusts.
Yeah.
Except for Violet.
And Dane was like, please don't go.
Dane's like,
please
no,
don't
you gotta
go.
come with us. Please come with us.
Yeah, Dane was fighting that hard.
He's like, no, don't go with Zayden.
What are you
come
doing?
with us. So then he makes she's like, whatever, boys, like, it's fine. Zayden, I'll come with you.
He's like, I'll miss you, Violet.
I'll miss you, Violet.
He says something like
that. And I'm like, okay, cool.
All right, weirdo.
Never mind. Never mind, it's no longer cool.
So they get to that they almost get to that outpost. They're taking a break for the dragons, and the Griffin Riders show up to talk to Zayden.
Yeah.
And it's this whole reveal of how they're not these awful people. They're not attacking them. They're actually struggling. And Zayden
But Violet feels very betrayed. She
does.
She thinks that all of it's a rebel rising again. And she's like, no.
So
I did not sign up for this. So she feels very betrayed by everybody.
But what actually is happening is they're giving weapons to the Griffin Riders to be able to fight
the real enemies,
monsters from her fairy tale book that you learn about in chapter 1.
That she then finds again, and she finds that her dad wrote a note in it.
Yes.
She was supposed to have all those books. She was supposed to go to the scribe quadrant. That her dad was was hiding all these little secrets that Violet was supposed to put together to take down the fucking shit in the wing.
So they finally get to their outpost, and it's abandoned.
Yes.
There's nobody
like,
there.
Oh shit, something's going on here.
And they come across this note from Dane's dad to Zayden that was basically like, we know what you're doing. You can either go meet your wing at this actual place where you're supposed to be, or you can go save that village down there of people that aren't from
Innocent
our
people.
country
Yeah.
who
So
are being
good luck.
attacked.
So either live or most likely die.
And depending on which one you pick, you're either
A traitor.
loyal to us or a traitor.
And they're basically guaranteeing that they're going to die if they become traitors.
Right.
So obviously they choose the action because it would not be a
Right.
fantasy book.
Not a
Without
single
it.
person wants to let all those innocent citizens die because they're citizens.
Yeah. So fighting entails a lot of drama happens, a lot of overpowered villains.
Who are the villains?
Yeah, I'm terrified of those monsters. I don't.
Yeah.
They're like venons, is what they're
Yeah.
called.
Which the book does explain what they are. I don't remember everything. It's something to
They
do with magic and
basically
whatnot.
they suck, instead of channeling the magic through a griffin or a dragon, they suck the magic out of the earth itself, and
Yes.
it makes them
They're like
not
wizards.
human anymore.
Almost.
But
Elemental.
after that note is when Zayden realizes that Dana's been collecting information
Yeah.
from Violet
And
unknowingly.
she's
like,
he
"What do
can
you
just
mean?" He's
touch
like,
her
"Has he ever
fucking
touched you like
face."
this?" And she's like, "Motherfucker, he touches me like
Yeah.
that every time he sees me."
And
He's like,
that's when
"Yeah,
I was
sorry,
like, that's
darling."
fucking Gale 2.0.
Yeah, because Zayden also did that to her, and she was like, "Oh my god, it is loving. He does
Yeah.
love me." And he's like, "Does Zayden ever touch you like that?" And she's like, "Motherfucker, bitch, bitches."
So
So now she's team Dane dies. I'm
Yeah.
like, period. But then they fight. They go for the villain or the village, and the worst thing to have ever happened in a book to me, personally.
you personally.
Yes, me personally. I have a personal attack by Rebecca Yarros. Poor baby Liam
Oh.
jumps in front of some attack with Day, his dragon,
I cried.
and Day dies.
Day dies, and
So that
Liam
means
dies.
Liam dies.
And it was so sad.
so sad.
Violet was trying to carry Liam, this man who's 3 times her size, over to his dragon, and she
And
just
she couldn't
do it.
And they were talking, and she's like, "Thank you for being my shadow. Thank you for being my friend." Which, beforehand, when she thought she was betrayed, literally was like, "I thought you were my friend." He's like, "You are my friend." And she's like, "No, you betrayed me." It's like, "No, thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being my shadow." I'm like,
Yes.
"Oh!"
I cried.
And Zayden
Did y'all
comes
cry?
over weeping.
I did cry.
Zayden, I was weeping. I have pictures again on my highlights.
Send them to me. I
was
want to put them
very
in there.
sad. And I had no one to talk to about it. Not a single soul.
Right.
I had actually one soul, but they were not that far. I was farther than they were. So I was weeping. Zayden comes over, and we learned that Liam is basically Zayden's adoptive brother.
Yeah.
He's like, I took him under my wing because we both needed it,
oh, when did you
as
learn
all
about,
of them did. But
have we already learned about his sacrifice at that point?
Yeah.
yes,
Well,
that
basi-
The
Because
15
they- when they
whipping
had sex.
lashings.
Oh, that's
she
right.
sees all his scars, and she's like, "What is
So
this?"
Zayden basically made a deal.
He has
with
106,
Violet's mom.
I think.
Yeah.
However many rebels there are.
He is, if he fucks up, all of the other rebels
Kids.
suffer. He
Yes. He
he
decided.
took responsibility for
Yes.
them.
So instead of every single one of them getting a lash, he took all of their lashes plus his
Right.
on his back, so that he protected all of them from that kind of pain. He took everything. So Homeboy sees himself as adoptive dad. These are my children.
Definitely big
These are my
brother
children
energy.
now. I will protect them. So Liam is his little baby brother, and little baby brother dies very tragically.
Mhm.
And Liam literally is like, "Day," and he's
Right.
like, "I will bring you, brother. I will bring you to him."
And
Her, him. I don't remember the gender of the dragon. I'm so sorry.
we lose a Mogan too, right? Is that the other one who dies?
Imogen?
Someone else dies.
Imogen? That's the name. I'm like, who the fuck's a Mogan?
That's how it's spelled.
Imogen.
It's because of
somebody else does
Heartstopper
also
that I
die.
know that name.
I think. I don't think it's Imogen. Maybe. I don't know.
That's the only other name that I remember, so that's why I think
That's
it's
fair.
her.
But still, either
yeah.
way, tragedy happens. Everybody's sad.
And then, so the only way they win
but
is because,
also, Violet's injured by the end of it. She gets injured.
well, she overpowers herself.
Because she uses the time
yeah.
stopping again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, to stop.
She uses and she overpowers herself with the lightning too, trying to
Yeah.
hit, because they were trying to kill all the abomination dragons that these venom
Yeah.
make.
So then as she's in a state of delirium, because this is obviously a single person story led book right now.
Yeah.
Till the last
she's
chapter.
in delirium, hearing everybody chatting, and she's she needs a heal. She needs more than just a healer. She needs a mender, which is a signet you can have, rather than just being good with
Meant healing.
medicine and knowledgeable
A
of how to heal
standard
people,
healer,
like a doctor.
Yeah.
She needs someone magical, and he's like, "Well, we're too far away from there. She'll die, and we're too far away from the other place. She'll die. So, like, there's only one place we can go, and I know a great mender. We should probably mention now that Brennan was a mender.
Except also, this was another Pikachu face moment because I forgot he was
Yeah, forgot that he was a mender. Forgot that was mentioned in there. The best mender, by the way.
Right. So you get a chapter from Zayden's point of view.
You get the last chapter from Zayden's point of view, and it's surprise! Brennan's still alive.
And he's been in
And a
love
part
with
of the
Violet like
rebellion.
since the beginning.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yes, and Zayden has been in love with Violet
Since
since
the
he
moment
laid
saw
eyes on her and is like, "That's my bitch." I'm like, "Yes, she is." So, I mean, she also sees Brennan.
Yeah.
In her POV.
And then that's
She's
how
like,
it
"You're
ends.
still alive," and he's like, "Welcome to the rebellion, sis."
Yes, and now I need to know so many things.
So now we can't wait until November. So for when you see this video, it's like 2 months, which is still about 2 months. I don't know when you're going to post this, Lucia. End of the month,
September
beginning,
something.
middle, whatever. It's so very soon. I also have 3 copies of this book. So I have this one. I also bought the UK one because I wanted Jennifer L. Emertrout's quote on the front. And so that's the book that Katie read. I let her borrow it, and now she has the
Mary
regular
bought
one
me this in Barnes & Noble yesterday.
Yay.
as of recording this.
I've been looking for a physical copy of this book for literally months, and every time I go to the store, nobody has it.
Yeah. So I saw it when I happened to go into Barnes & Noble. Specifically for you, though. It didn't just happen to be there.
So now that we've talked about the book.
Hold on. And then I'm getting the Bookish Box one, and I'm hoping to get the Fairy Loot.
Okay.
So we'll see. But I also have the UK Fourth Wing, or Iron Flame, which is the next book, pre-ordered, and I have the Barnes & Noble for that one. So I have 2 books for it. I'm starting my book collection, y'all. Starting to really expand it.
So now we can talk about theories.
Well, I was going to say
Theories.
something real quick.
Okay,
yes.
do, please.
I feel like this book talk is the most I've not talked.
This is the most I've talked.
Yes.
I love this book.
Yes.
Give us your thoughts, Lucia. Tell us.
Well, I wanted to ask y'all, firstly, what was y'all's favorite obstacle course, if you will, that they had to go through? You know, like...
I don't remember the specifics of their obstacle course specifically, but I really enjoyed all the like hand-to-hand combat scenes where she was like beating them down. Honestly, anything to do with Taryn as the dragon, like as commentary in her head, and all of her instances she was with Zayden, I was like eating that shit up.
And then another question.
I'm a romance.
Or
girly.
what about you, Katie?
Yeah. I think I enjoyed the gauntlet the most because I really just didn't think she'd ever be able to overcome it. I was like, how are you physically going to do that, girl? And then she did.
Here for it, you know?
And it was nice.
Another question is, what was your favorite power signet that someone has?
I'm a shadow girly. I read so
you don't
many
even
shadow daddies.
like Azriel. Get out of here.
Fuck off. I have other shadow daddies.
We have the Shadow Daddy from that other series that we read.
I got a shadow daddy right
Uh,
here. Who was the other shadow? What other books?
the one where you and Mary kind of liked it, but Katie liked it more than us. I forgot what it's called.
Mercy's
Oh,
Light?
Mercy's Light?
That has shadow
Oh
daddy?
man, y'all are frozen for me. I don't know what happened.
It's okay.
I should probably end that call. Okay. So
Okay,
at the ending
sorry
of
about
this,
that.
We're gonna have a little bit of audio, but it's fine. You can fix that in post.
Okay. Clapping so that I know where to help that.
A giant clap.
All right.
Giant clap. Sorry about that. I don't know.
Now
I
we
really
can
don't
see
know
your
what happened.
face.
Yeah. All right.
What?
We
So
can see you
your
now.
face now.
You couldn't see me that entire time?
No.
It's okay. We just went
That's
with it. What were we saying? Like for the end of it, there was one thing that we didn't mention, and I thought it was a really sweet moment. It was, I think during like the party or something like that, Zayden had to like go away because it was like the
His
anniversary of
Zane
Summer's death or
kissed
something
her.
like that.
Oh, it was during the party. Zayden went out to the parapet because it was the day his dad died.
Yeah, so he went up to the parapet, and she was like, "I'm gonna go see him," and goes out in a dress onto the parapet with worse footwear than she did before. But homegirl has the balance now, and Zayden's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I wanted to come see you, like see that you're okay."
And
And he's
she's
like,
like-
"Please don't ever do that," and they like walk off. And like
Yeah.
they have a nice little heart to heart, and I'm like,
It was a
love
very
this. It's so
sweet
cute.
moment. It was
Very sweet.
I was asking you guys what was y'all's favorite power, basically.
Power.
Yes, power.
I am a shadow girly, but I've read a lot of books with shadows in them.
I'm always a big fan of like weather related things. So both
Yeah.
the lightning and her mom's like storm powers is very fun.
You would probably like Red Queen then, if you haven't read that
Probably.
by Victoria Aveyard.
My favorite character from I Am Number 4 was a storm maker too. So
Yeah, Red Queen has a Stormmaker as the main character, so.
There's also a storm in X-Men.
Good. What's yours?
Probably Thanes.
Wow, she likes
I
the
mean-
snake. It's good power.
it is a good power.
It's giving Arrow from
Yeah.
Twilight.
Arrow from what?
Twilight, the Volturi.
Oh, yeah.
Granted, he gets all of every thought you've ever
Yeah.
had with touch, but still.
But, cause I like, the worst thing about Dane is that I knew he was from the beginning, you know? Well, not the beginning, but he was just like sus, you know? So if anything, I like characters with that power, but that will break my heart more in terms of, I didn't know I was gonna feel that way. Like, I like the fact that he betrayed her and was that person completely, like, that's you, dude. So I want, you know, I want that power or similar power, or like even in another series, to gut me too, you know. But that kind of segues into some theories. I know, I feel, and I mentioned this to y'all when we were, you know, texting back and forth, because we've, as a trio, we all finished this book last week officially, and it was the most active horror book that we've had as a channel, or like as
We've
whatever.
sent each other so many TikToks.
Yeah, so many TikToks. And so I think there's theories that I saw on TikTok and theories that I thought of my own, theories I saw y'all make, just overall a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So thoughts on things like that.
I want to circle this back to what I made the comment of before. Whereas again, if I did not listen to the audiobook, I never would have read this. The very beginning of this book, before a map, it has an excerpt that says, "The following text has been faithfully transcribed from Navarian into the modern language by Jacinia Neilward," which is the person that we meet in the like library when she does that. Curator of the Scribe Quadrant at Basgaith War College. All events are true, and names have been preserved to honor the courage of those fallen. May their souls be commended to Malik. Reading that in the beginning, you're like, oh, cool.
I didn't know
amazing.
that. 'Cause
Now
I read
there's
this
a
book
theory.
online.
I did not come up with this. This was on the internet. Everybody in this book dies. That is the theory. That by the end of this 5-book series,
Right.
everyone's going to be dead except Jacinia. And that's why it's like that. This is her telling the story of everything. However, it's a little sus. Why do you know Xaden and Violet's
so much about their
sex
life.
life?
Well, to be honest,
Why do you know that?
don't you tell your friends about your sex life sometimes?
She's got you there. She's got you there.
She just signs all of it.
She
with all
signs
this.
it all
Justinia's
Deaf, yeah.
deaf. Also, we never mentioned the cutest nickname in existence. Homeboy calls her Violence.
I do love that.
Zane calls her Violence.
It's very
It's
funny.
like, she is very stabby.
It's true.
She
My
she
favorite
puts the dagger to
theory
the throat all the time.
is that the storm that picked up as Violet was crossing the parapet was charged by her mother. Because, her dad writes this note for her and leaves it in her fairy tale book because she's supposed to be a scribe and she's supposed to go in. So the whole theory is that her dad knew what was happening.
Yes, which I also thought.
So I think that Violet's mother killed him. He didn't die of a broken heart
Yeah.
because of Brennan. Especially if Brennan's in the rebellion.
And
And her
Homegirl-
father knew something. So
And
they had
she
stuff-
definitely knows. Her mom definitely knows
Yes.
that he's alive.
Oh, of
has
course
to
she
know.
does. She's the
And
general.
she just treats him like he's dead because
So-
he's dead to her.
The whole reason she changed her mind about allowing Violet to be a scribe wasn't because she didn't want to be ashamed of her daughter.
No.
It was because she wanted her to die so she never found out what was happening.
Or get tough enough to survive. Because
yes, or like
well,
or
okay,
never
so-
or never have the reason to find out.
Right.
Either wanted her to die or just was like, get her away from the scribe, as far away from the scribes as possible.
Yes.
I mean, because
Um,
that's exactly
I
why
love
they
that
kill
theory.
the people who manifest the ones that can read minds. Because yes, you know, you can learn people's minds and deep secrets, but you
Right.
can also learn the truth.
Right. They'd learn what was happening because all of those upper war leaders basically know that
Yeah.
these overpowered
rebellions
are basically gutting the world outside of their wards because their magic doesn't work inside of their wards, and they're literally just letting all of these innocent people die for no good reason.
Yes. Yeah. I love that theory. You didn't say that before. I love that. What's another one of the theories that we wrote down?
I'm confident that Xaden's going to die and Violet's mother's going to be the one that kills him.
And to piggyback off of that theory the other day, I mentioned this in the comments because I was like, well, we know that people have the ability to heal and to mend, stuff like this, when we don't have anyone who can bring someone back to life yet. So my theory is that maybe, he will die and someone will have the ability to bring back.
And that's when I was like, well, Violet has to be able to get another signet from Andarna, right? Because now she
grew up.
She grew up. At the end of the book,
she loses her powers.
She loses her power and that she's much bigger than she was. So she has to be full grown somehow. So I was almost thinking that potentially the second signet that Violet gets is something along those lines of your theory. And she's the one that saves him.
And I also, another one I was thinking, I even mentioned it when we were chatting about this, and it's kind of going back to Dane and him not getting me enough to buy her portrayal because I kind of figured something like that would happen, was that one of her friends that we really, really got to know will betray her in the worst way. And maybe it's the one guy, maybe it's the one that she gave the shoe to. Yeah. Again, names. I'm never good with names, y'all. Maybe it's the other guy who always likes to joke around and stuff. Maybe it's her sister,
I could see her sister coming in to play a role, and I could see her sister siding with her mother.
Yeah, and then I can see her siding with her mother, and then maybe in book 4 or something, she goes and no, that's my sister. What we're doing is wrong, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I can potentially see Brennan. That's the brother's name, right?
Yeah.
I can see him actually dying now, because remember, again, that other book series we read with the Shadow User, and there's the dark side and the light side. The Lightbringer. Was that what it is?
Yeah.
Remember, that guy's brother died, and he was supposed to have been dead this entire time. And,
and he wasn't dead.
And then he dies.
Yeah, and then he does die. Yeah.
So, there's a lot of theories. My theory was, one of the things that was most important to this series, and they talked about it in the very beginning, was the people who have the most power are actually the scribes, because they're the ones who write down the history. They're the ones who can tell the story. The winners tell what will happen. So when the other day, I think it was Mary, maybe it was you, Katie, I actually don't remember now. Someone said that, the person who's writing this book is, a scribe, you know what I mean? That is, and I was like, maybe it's Violet later on. She actually becomes a scribe later in life. But you said, Mary, right now that
Justinia is the one that writes it.
Yeah, so I didn't know that until right now.
To be fair, though, it's only transcribed by Justinia.
It's true.
So maybe Violet is the one that wrote it, and that's why she knows everything. Whatever. Yeah, because it would make sense. She is a scribe at heart.
We did leave out a very important detail, and it is that the war general, the head of the whole army, can see the outcome of things. He could see the future, basically. And the whole reason, the rule that no more than 3 rebel children are allowed to be together is because when there's more than 3 of them, the dragon mark, because his dragon is one that marked those kids, he can't see what happens when there's more than 3 of them together.
Did forget that.
And that's part of the reason why Xaden was able to get away with all the things he was doing, because he was always in those bigger groups.
With 5 people at least.
And it's also why at the party, when you meet him in person, he basically says, I like to lay my eyes on him once a year, because when they're at the school like that, he can't actually see them in his future, kind of. Yeah, that was an important detail.
Yes. He's like an Alice, almost.
Yeah.
Almost.
I'm very excited for where this is going to go. I need more. I need to know what Brennan knows. What does Brennan know? What made him become a rebel?
Right? And how... And so, Terran's rider that passed away is the one that tried to save Brennan,
it was him,
right?
Wasn't it? I think maybe. If it wasn't, it was just somebody else. No, I don't think it was, because Brennan would have...
Because
Brennan's not that much older than her.
Oh, you're right.
So I think his writer passed away during the Rebel thing.
Interesting. Now I gotta go look.
I don't remember.
Either way.
I remember.
But like
just know what's going on.
Someone died tragically trying to save Brennan.
And there's a theory that was like his lover. I've seen that too, and that like he turned into a venom or whatever. That like that Brennan actually did die, and he used all of his power to save him, and then became a venom
saving him. That's an interesting theory.
Yeah,
too.
that's a theory that I've seen.
I haven't heard that one. I remember another theory I thought of, and maybe other people have thought of this one too, but I thought about it the other day, is that, well shit, now I can't remember it.
Oh no.
Period.
Someone else go, I'll get back to it.
I don't really know. I loved this book. I can't wait for more. I need more. All I have are questions.
Oh, I remember.
Do tell.
I posted it on our chat the other day. Well, because they even mention it sort of in the beginning of the book that writers typically get with writers. So why would the general, her mom, get with a scribe? That's out of pocket, out of now. I was thinking like, oh, did she get with a scribe so to help influence the history of what was going on? Did she fall in love?
Right.
And so, like, is he maybe alive somewhere and not dead and just locked up in a dungeon because maybe the mom does love him? You never know.
Interesting theory.
It's a very interesting theory.
Yeah. I can't wait. All I know is my fall is filled with Interview with a Vampire, Sword Catcher, and Iron Flame.
And Curse for True Love.
So, for sure we're going to do a book talk in November?
Yeah, November.
Maybe not December because holidays? Or what do you think?
I don't think we're going to be able to do a book in December.
Yeah.
It's a lot of holidays.
There is, and I think we're going to Tennessee for a portion of the holidays, so like Mary and I can't be together, and I feel like we cannot figure out a 3-way of doing this.
If it was Zoom, probably. When we did Zoom, it was a lot easier.
It was,
we just had to stop the video.
We have to stop talking every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But I feel like we could, because this is going to go out in September, right? But we're a month ahead, so then we do Interview with Vampire for October, but we read Swordcatcher in October.
So we could read 2 books in October, essentially.
Well, we're reading Interview with Vampire. We're reading it by October, yeah.
So then
we read another book by the end of October, and then we can read Iron Flame in November.
And then have that for the December
And then
one.
you're a month ahead, so you have something to post in December, but we don't read something in December.
Yeah, so then we'll be back to doing it within 3 weeks and then doing a video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll pick a shorter book for January. Ice Princess Barbarians.
When does... I think March is the Prisoner's Throne for the second book for Stolen Air.
I don't remember that one.
Either way.
I don't know what the...
We gotta keep going with the Holly Black book. We gotta finish that series.
Maybe...
Holly Black could never! I like that book,
some adult novels.
I do want to say something also real quick. Because I really liked this book a lot. I actually, and I've already told you all this, but the audience doesn't know. Because I really like this book a lot, I actually read another book by this author, and I just want to say that I'm glad that she switched genres. Not that the steamy scenes they hit, but just as a book in general, it didn't hit for me. So I'm glad she changed genres, and she was like, you know what? Oh, there's this other thing I saw. And I sent a TikTok for, and it said, someone was like, what do you mean? Like the audio and TikTok's like, what do you mean? Apparently the author said that we won't get more of Zayden's point of view because he's still keeping more secrets.
Ugh.
He's keeping secrets. You can't get his head until he stops keeping secrets from her. So I'm guessing like book 4.
Probably, yeah.
Like, I don't think we're going to get it in book 3. If we do, it'd be late book 3 again.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I don't know what's going on in his bed.
Break my heart. That's all I have to say.
Don't bring that quote up.
Do y'all have any guesses on who's going to betray her?
Stop it right now!
I made Mary cry on site with her birthday present.
Literally?
Why?
I couldn't even finish reading the quote.
I made her a bookmark with a quote from Jem. Like, one of the most heartbreaking quotes that
I
ever has.
vividly think about all the
one?
time. And I started reading, I was like, why have I read this? And then I look over at the violin that she put on, I'm like, no! I'm not reading it, started weeping. And then now she just said break my heart. I'm like, that is something that Julian says.
See if you can get it signed
and I'm gonna cry.
in October. See if you can get the bookmark signed when we see Cassandra Clare.
Do that. I'm hoping that she's gonna walk around Comic-Con because, like, we only get a picture with her that night. She's not signing that night. She's signing the next night. So I'm hoping that, like, during the day, she's just there in the convention.
Yeah. Would it be a group picture or, like, a single picture?
I think everybody gets their own picture.
Okay.
I think is how they're doing it.
Not that it would matter either
We
way.
get a pre-signed copy of her book.
And it's definitely not going to be personalized.
No, it is the Barnes & Noble exclusive, though.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Because they're sponsoring the event. But
right on. All right. Wait 1 second. Do y'all have any guesses on who's gonna break her heart and betray her?
I could see Rhiannon ending up betraying her. I also feel like her
think so
sister's
too.
going to.
I feel like her sister definitely knows more than she lets on.
Yeah, for sure.
And is probably going to betray her, but it'll be another miscommunication type thing. Like, it was just omitted information, not necessarily like a malicious thing for me.
I don't know. I could see her sister being like her mom, and
I
her
think-
mom is very much the villain in my brain.
That is true. She's like kind of her mother's daughter.
Yeah.
But
I fully
again-
think Brandon's going to die. I don't think she's going to betray her. I think she's going to die.
I mean, both could happen.
It could happen. I'm pretty sure Zayden's gonna die, so
I don't think he'll die this early.
I want
If he becomes the first love interest and we're
Listen.
going to get Tamlin out of him, I'm going to cry.
he could make it all the way to book 5 and still die.
Yeah. Fine if he makes it to book 5. Not fine, but like if he dies in book 2,
not fine with
if
that.
he
I
doesn't
would
survive
cry.
all 5 books, I'm gonna cry. But like he's got to make it to the end of the series. There's no
I
way
have
you're
a
gonna throw
question.
another love interest into me. I'm not gonna care. He better be the hottest bitch in the world.
Yeah, you better have like 3 dicks hanging from him.
He's not an alien. Anyways, welcome to the Fourth Wing, everybody. Get your shit together, read it. It's worth
one
the
more thing to
hype.
say.
What?
I have one more thing to say.
Okay.
Maybe not the one more thing. Again, we mentioned in the chat, but the audience doesn't know we talked to you about that in the chat. So, do you think it's fair that a dragon gets to keep living, but a rider dies if the
No.
dragon dies?
It's not
You know?
fair.
I don't think it's fair, but
However-
like I get it.
Like I had said in the chat, and like I said earlier, I think the people die because they can't control the magic that just courses through them.
I guess the
They're
option is die or become a venin.
Yeah, like they're so intertwined with the dragon that like if the dragon's so powerful, where's that power gonna go?
I think a dragon's gonna turn evil.
Interesting.
The dragons will betray them.
I want to learn more about
Because why
dragons.
else would a dragon pick Jack?
That's a valid point. I don't know why you would pick Jack.
Yeah,
All right.
there's other deserving people.
I mean, some dragons are cunning and like gross. It's fine.
You know, like maybe a dragon will like the fact that Jack is willing to do anything to live. I can see
He's a
that.
survivor.
But also, I want to
He's the
see some dragon
strongest.
versus dragon, like, actual action, and not some dragon and weird fucking dragon action.
We never said they had to be good people. They're just
That's
they're
true. I
just
mean, look
they're
at all
very
the people
good.
that are in charge right now. They're not good people at all.
bringing politics in this.
There's a lot of politics in this.
Only talking about the book.
We're not gonna go down that route. I don't actually know enough to have
No,
an
I stand.
intelligent conversation.
So uneducated. It's fine. I dumb my brain down with fantasy and smut.
The world's on fire. Bring me dragons.
They're setting it
Dragon
on fire.
Daddy, let's go!
All right, I need to go to bed because I'm an old lady. This was lovely.
So-
I downloaded Interview with a Vampire, and I'm
Once
excited
again,
to read it.
mine will be delivered in like a week. I was like, I don't want to read this yet. So, but once again, welcome to the Fourth Wing, everybody.
This
Get
is
your
my
shit
book.
together. Keep going. Please keep reading.
But
It's worth the hype. It is worth everything that people have said. I don't think it's truly divergent with dragons, but like if that is what will get you to read it, read it.
it's got dragons. Do you need more
It's
than
got
that?
dragons. It's got dragons and it has spice.
It's got sex
And the
scenes in the
tension-
first
It's
book,
got
guys.
sex scenes
It's
in
got
the
sex
first book.
scenes in the first book.
We didn't have to wait.
And
It's
you
got
really didn't-
sassy dragons.
You didn't have to wait long for the enemies to lovers to give you some
Exactly.
redemption either. So like,
The writing is great.
Oh, yeah,
honestly.
someone's
Whoever
definitely
says it's
dying.
bad,
I
I've read
laughed
worse books.
reading this.
I've read worse books.
Honestly, Violet's inner monologue is the funniest thing
Yes.
ever, and the way she just thirsts after human. read it.
Violet
He's
is me,
like,
I'm Violet.
Ride it, my pony, saddle. All right. This was Lucia.
She said Lucia.
Katie.
And Mary.
And thank you all for joining us in this very, as always, casual discussion on Book Talk this month.
For sure the
was
longest one
the
we've had in a
fourth
while.
wing. What?
For sure the longest one we've had in a while.
Yeah. And I hope you all enjoyed our chaotic rumblings of always. That's how you get to know us more.
Next time
for
we're gonna be
October.
together.
Yes!
Yes, next
That's
time
so
we'll be
exciting!
together. And yay! Hopefully no tech issues.
Since it'll be in person. We just need one recording device.
All right, everyone, have a great one. Bye.
Bye.